Hello students, and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Sri Gyan Manjari Vidyapit for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. Students, we have started with the revision work, in which in the previous lecture we started with the revision of chapter number 18, which is quite a long chapter divided into two parts. Name of the chapter is Price Rise and Consumer Awareness. In the previous lecture we finished with the first part, that is price rise. Now we are going to start with the second part of the chapter, that is consumer awareness. Lecture number 2 for chapter number 18, price rise and consumer awareness. We are going to learn today the second part of the chapter, that is consumer awareness. First thing is, what is a who is who to whom you can call a consumer, or who is a consumer. Now, as far as this chapter is concerned, we are going to have a fixed marks weightage of 7 marks. Distribution of marks, we already are aware of it. One objective, 1 mark, one objective will be asked. Then 2 mark, one question will be asked, and 4 mark, one question will be asked. So we will be especially focusing on small questions of 2 marks and the long essay type questions of 4 marks. Now, some of the questions of this particular chapter is quite a lot of length and equals to 5 or 6 marks. That much long questions are there. So we need to reduce the points over there, and we'll look at which points are to be removed when we are writing that long essay type, which are quite lengthy answers, and we need not write whole of the answer as it is. So uh, first we'll discuss who is consumer. This is a 2 mark question. Who can be called a consumer? A person who purchases goods or services for personal use is called a consumer. Now, you purchase vegetables for personal use, for cooking at home, consuming that. Yes, having your lunch and dinner, for that purpose you buy vegetables, you are a consumer. But a person who buys it from the market in bulk, so that he can go to a far remote area and sell it over there with a little bit uh, cost increased over there for profit purpose, then he is not a consumer. Consumer is always the end user of whatever goods or services that he has purchased. For example, we buy clothes, fuel for our vehicles, electricity, insurance, mediclaim, taking banking services, hospital services. We are all consumers because we buy the goods or the services for our personal use. Then we are consumers. So in today's time, every producer is a consumer. Even when he is the owner of a factory, he has suppose 60 products being produced in his um, very large factory, but he also uses a car. He buys petrol for his car. He is a consumer. He goes home. He purchases land for his personal use. He makes a home to live in it. Yes, he buys all the essential things that are required in a home. He is a consumer. On day-to-day basis, he needs lots of commodities. Yes, for sustenance of himself and his family. At the end, he is also a consumer, right? Even if producer produces thousands of different commodities and services, even then he will always have to buy some commodities from the market for his personal use. So in layman's language, consumers and customers are considered same. Consumer and a customer is considered same because a consumer has to buy. When he buys something, he is a customer for the person who is selling it, right? So consumer and customer, we think both are the same, but it is not so. There is quite a lot of, technically both of them are different. How are they different? This is a 2 mark question because only 3 points are there, right? So give difference usually comes in the 3 mark question, but if it is asked in 2 marks, then we should be able to answer it. Who is a customer, who is a consumer? The purchaser of goods or services is known as a customer. Now, for a dealer who is selling in bulk, lots of retail customers come over there. So, for the dealer, all of them are customers because they are buying from him, right? But End user of the goods or services is known as a consumer. You go to buy one close-up toothpaste or one Colgate toothpaste. You are a customer from the shop which from where you are buying. At the same time, you buy it for yourself, so you are a consumer. But a person who goes to the market and buys 50 close-up toothpaste or Colgate toothpaste from the dealer, he is not going to buy that 50 for his personal use. So he is going to keep it in the shop and sell it for profit. So he is a customer for the dealer, but then he is not a consumer. Same way, a customer may be agent or processor who by purchasing goods or raw material may be producing something and then reselling it. Yes, a person purchases one truckload of potatoes, but he doesn't purchase it for himself. Yes, maybe he is the owner of the factory producing chips, potato chips. So he takes it for producing potato chips. He takes that potato, whole truck full load of potato to his factory. Yes, and produces chips out of it. He is a customer because he has gone to the market and bought that truckload of potato. He is a customer, but at the same time, he is not a consumer, right? Consumer does not buy the goods or services for reselling it or for profit base. He does not do it. He consumes it himself. That is why he's called a consumer. Third point, price of the goods that the customer buys is to be paid by the customer. The price of the goods that the customer buys is to be paid by the customer. Now, if you are a customer, you buy, suppose a 10 rupee item, you got to pay for it. Yes? Whereas the consumer may or may not be paying for the goods he is consuming. For example, parents pay for the food, but it is consumed even by the children. That is, children are not buying it, yet they are consumers. Now, we are talking about end user. End user, the child is the end user, right? Father bought you lots of stationery, books, etc., pen, pencil, all this compass material. He bought all the things for you, but is he going to use any of it? No, he's not even going to touch it. He bought it for you, he's going to hand it over to you. You are the consumer because you are the end user, yet you have not purchased it directly. Your father is a customer, but you are a consumer, right? So that is the difference. Now, consumer awareness and consumer protection. Now, let us see about that. What is consumer protection and what is consumer awareness? This is quite a long question, so it is not a 2-mark question, but it is certainly a 3-mark question, and limited points are there. Yes, we cannot stretch these points. So we are not going to focus that much on this particular question, but at the same time, we'll go through it, right? Consumer awareness and consumer protection. What is the meaning of that? Suppose definition is asked, right, for 2 marks, then we got to know it. What is the consumer awareness? Process of making consumer aware about the rights related to the products and services they buy is called consumer awareness. Whenever we buy some packaged goods, we don't know what is inside that, because at the time of purchasing we are not going to open up all the different packages that we have bought, right? We go home and as per need we open them, right? So at that time, if it is stale or it's not, it doesn't remain fresh, yes, then it's of no use. We got to throw it away. Now our money goes wasted. So this is the point. The process of making consumer aware about their rights related to the product or the services that they are buying, that is called consumer awareness. Today many items of similar features but belonging to different brands are available in the market. So illiterate, ignorant and unaware consumers who do not have complete knowledge or information about such things get fooled easily by buying fake or not that much good quality of product. Yes. Now, in India especially, it is quite possible that lots of people are illiterate, and usually in the rural areas where they do not have that much, quite a lot of information with them. So these are ignorant people. First of all, they are illiterate. On top of that, they are also ignorant people. So they do not have the complete knowledge of the product that they are buying. So, sometimes the language also poses a problem. It's not written in the local language, it's written in in any other language, in English, or the person doesn't know the local languages from outside that state. Then that poses a problem. He doesn't know what he's buying, right? So to protect the uh, rights of the consumer, awareness should be there. There are several middlemen also working between the producers and the consumers, and so consumer, he gets exploited in lots of different ways. Now, we come to consumer protection. What is consumer protection? This much part is a two-mark question, right? Define it, give example. Define it, give example. The system which sees that the goods and services the consumer buys are of good quality, proper weight, and available at reasonable price, that is known as consumer protection. So there are lots of laws prevalent in the system. Lots of checkpoints are there where the goods, before they reach the consumer or the customer, it passes through lots of checkpoints to see that the consumer is not exploited. So consumer protection is a movement which is undertaken to make consumers aware about their rights. Now, what is consumer protection? Consumer protection is a well organized program for the people of the society so that they become mature customers, or consumers. They become matured in the way that they are fully aware, even though when they are not that much literate, or they are not that much ignorant, they are careless, then also they have certain maturity when they go to the market and not get easily fooled or exploited. The program aims at controlling anti-consumer activities that are going on in the market to fool the people or to cheat the people. Exploitation happening, deception, yes, cheating and fooling, that is deception that the consumer faces. Now, who started it? It was Ralph Nader who started for the first time the movement for consumer awareness in the United States of America, and hence is considered the pioneer or the person who started the consumer movement. Next, the same last point is keeping in mind the consumer protection. Many shopkeepers and businessmen, they put up slogans like customer hi hamara bhagwan hai, devta hai, satisfaction of the consumer is our motto. Customer is a king of the market. Yes, customer is God for us. So these are, you can say, to make the people aware that you are a customer, you should be fully aware. Yes, and when you go to buy things, you should be aware of your rights, and you should not be exploited, you should not be cheated. So come to the next question, ways in which a consumer is exploited. It is not a two-mark question. At the same time, it is not a four-mark question, but you should be knowing it. Providing lesser weight. How is a consumer exploited? Yes, 1.5 किलो चीनी देने के बजाय 1 किलो 300 ग्राम दे दिया. So that is cheating. Providing lesser weight than one printed on the packet, or slightly defective piece of the product is given to you. Overpricing is done. Yes, 10 रुपए की item है 12 रुपया लिख दिया. So he is unnecessarily taking 2 rupees profit more. Providing adulterated, some mix करके goods की quality कम कर दिया. Unsatisfactory after sale services. These are some of the common ways in which a customer gets cheated in business such as banking, insurance, mobile service, phone, medical facilities. Attractive but false and misleading advertisements are given, and many a time unaware customer, he gets exploited or cheated. At times, such goods are sold which cause physical harm as well as mental harassment. Sometimes the seller creates artificial scarcity, and thus he indulges in profiteering. Now, the next question, reason for consumer exploitation. It is a complete four-mark question, and star mark that, you should know it very well and thoroughly. Consumer himself is responsible. First thing, what is the first reason for consumer getting exploited? He is himself responsible. Why? Because many a times consumer, they are totally ignorant, they lack awareness, they are not that much literate, and lack the will to become organized and oppose exploitation. He has just bought one packet, and he cannot fight with the retail dealer from wherever he is purchasing. Yes, but if 4 or 5 people come with the same product at the same time, then it becomes very difficult for the shopkeeper to answer all of them, because he knows he has cheated or the product is quite faulty, right? So at that time, if we are not united, the customer lacks unity, right? Because he buys individually. So becomes organized and hence expose exam. Moreover, consumer always considers taking legal action as a hassle. Yes, he doesn't want himself to get into trouble. Yes, because he will have to come out from his workplace and go to the court, police station, etc. So there are lots of hassles that he unnecessary for a 500 rupee product. He has to spend 5,000 rupees as court fees and lawyer fees and all that, and he doesn't want to get involved in that hassle. So he does not go for any legal action. Due to all these reasons and weaknesses, the consumer, producers, and the traders and the middlemen, all of these people, they exploit the consumer. Second is limited information. In the capitalist economy, the producers and sellers are free to produce or sell any commodity, and that too in quite a huge number. So what happens in such an economy? There is no specific rules regarding the pricing and quality regulations that are to be followed. The same thing is produced by five different people in that same region. Yes, and everybody says their product is the best, and they increase the price. Yes, they don't decrease the price, they increase the price, because there is a common tendency कि जितना भाव ज़्यादा होगा उतना product अच्छा होगा. So the same product is available at 15 rupees also, 16 also, 17. Somebody is selling at 25, right? So his product is not only costly, but it doesn't give anything extra, right? It doesn't give a superior quality. Yes, he is just increasing price so that people are lured by the greed that by paying more we'll get a better item. So in this way, the customer is usually exploited. Under such situation and in the absence of knowledge of information about the usefulness of the product, its quality, maintenance, condition of use, after sale services, warranty guarantee, he is lacking knowledge somewhere, and that is how the customer gets fooled. With the limited information and lack of understanding, the consumer usually tends to get exploited. Next is limited supply. When supply of a product or service is lesser in the demand, so artificial scarcity is created. Now when artificial scarcity is created, the customers have to compromise because they are at least getting it. After paying a little bit more money, they are getting it, so they won't complain about the quality of the product, right? So scarcity is also created due to hoarding goods, traders, producers bidding, or for about natural calamities also. In such a situation, traders, they make undue advantage of the situation the customer is in, and then they get exploited. Thus limited supply, now limited competition. When there is no competition, there is only one producer who produces that product, and there is nobody else who is able to make that product. So what happens is he is the king of the market because he is the only producer. So whatever price he sells, people have to buy it. So monopoly. So when there is no competition or very limited competition, the producer will enjoy quite a monopoly over the market. So customer, they are helpless. Yes, they got to buy that product, and they can't even complain because no other such product is available in the market. So compromise with quality, quantity, whatever. Now this is a 2 mark question. The first person in India to talk about consumer protection and exploitation, who was the first person? So that's hardly a 2 mark question, but we can prepare it for 2 marks. Kautilya was the first person at India level to mention about the need of consumer protection and exploitation that place due to misconduct of traders in his book Arthashastra, that was written quite a long time back in ancient India. So we can say that right from ancient India, this consumer protection and consumer awareness and all these things, we think it started today. But as far as India is concerned, we can know that even in ancient time, with the help of the book Arthashastra, Kautilya was able to project this problem properly. Kautilya also mentioned that such wrongdoers should be heavily punished so that it sets an example, and especially in the terms of undermeasurement, etc., of goods, adulteration, duplication, these people should be punished very heavily so that it sets an example in the society. Next question is about the important laws and acts made at world level, and second thing is at India level for consumer protection. Whole of this question you can star mark as a 4 mark question. Yes, individually at world level is 2 marks, individually at India level that is 2 marks, right? But put together that will be 4 marks. So we will prepare it for 2 marks separately and 4 marks separately. You learn the one question, you know you can answer it in 4 marks, or either any one of that is asked, then you can answer it in at 2 level, 2 marks level also. Laws and acts made at world level. The first very important thing is 15th March 1962. American President John Franklin Kennedy, that is JFK, presented four rights of the consumers in the Parliament of America. He expressed his concern that the problems of the consumers are not heard. This was the first approach legally in a country. International organization, that is Consumers International, published a notification after that showing rights of consumers. So 15th March 1983, so 15th March every year is celebrated at world level as World Consumer Day. On 16th April 1985, the UN also joined so that the rest of the countries of the world can also, all the member countries, they can also make laws in their countries regarding consumer awareness and consumer rights. 16th April 1985, the UN declared 8 basic consumer rights in its bill, United Nations Guideline for Consumer Protection. According to this bill, UN recommended every nation of the world to set up some administrative or legal structure for the protection of consumer rights and their interests. This is 2 mark question. Now we come to laws and acts at India level. So once the UN has accepted it and asked the member countries to make up such law structure in their country so that consumer protection can be done. So India also took up the hint. Parliament of India formed National Consumer Protection Act 1986, which was signed and permitted by the President of India on 24th December 1986. Please remember all these dates are quite important. So due to this, every year we celebrate 24th December as National Consumer Rights Day in India. 18th February 1988, now in Gujarat. Gujarat government implemented Gujarat Consumer Protection Act 1988. As per this act, legal action can be taken for protection of the consumers. In the years 1993 and 2002, India made many important amendments in its Consumer Protection Act. India is also made lots of provisions, consumer protection legislation in 1986. So all throughout this year, according to the development, according to the need, the structure, law structure is not changed. Amendment and more new laws and acts are made so that it can help to create a better environment where the consumer protection can be had. Now we come to the next question, that is legislation concerning consumer right. Now that is divided into two parts. First thing is provision for consumer services, and the second is provisions related to the rights of the consumer. Now rights of the consumer, that is a complete 4 mark question, because there are 5 rights mentioned over here, and for provision for consumer services, that is also quite a long question, so it is a 4 mark question, right? Now let us begin with the introduction of that. The Consumer Protection Act has given several provisions for protecting consumers from exploitation. Now what are they? They are classified as under. First is A, provision under consumer services. B is provision for rights to consumers. So independently, provision for consumer services, that is a 4 mark question, and a provision for right to consumer, because you have to explain over there, right? Now first we will learn about provision for consumer services. Now what is the provision? Provisions means the arrangement that is done over there, has legal protection and could be any one of the following. Now first thing is you have to define who the consumer is. So who is the consumer? A person has made payment or has promised to make payment. Sometimes we buy the goods and promise to pay it by the end of the month, or say in installment, but a promise has been made that way. Person has made payment completely or in parts or in installment, or has promised, has taken the thing on credit and then promised to pay within some particular time frame. Whatever the case is, a person has made payment or has promised to make payment, has agreed for or offered any mode of payment. What is any mode of payment? Whether you are paying in cash, whether you are paying by check, whether you are transferring the money electronically, uh, in whichever way you promise to pay. In lieu of the purchase done, against the, in lieu means in against the purchase that you have done, you promise to pay in any way, either cash, credit, either check, or either electronically. Yes, any way you have promised to pay, or commodity, then he is called a consumer. That is the first thing. First, we need to clarify who a consumer is. The person who pays the value of a product either in the form of, say anyway, installments or by hire purchase system. Yes, you go to a hotel room, you go to another city, you take a hotel because you don't have a place to live for 2 or 3 days, so you have to take a hotel room, right? So you approach a hotel, you are paying for the services that will allow you to stay over there for 2 3 days, whatever time frame you need, and lots of facilities are included in the money that you are, so that is a hire purchase whatever system. Or hires the services, or services receives the service. Hire a service, that means, for example, we are hiring the services of that hotel, right? So that is a hire of service. Or purchase a service, that means, for example, we buy uh, services from the mobile company, right? Service provider, we pay and we get some talk time, we get some data which we can use, right? So in that way, we are either we are hiring a service. For example, you take a taxi, that is a hiring a service, right? Or you receive service, that is, for example, the mobile data, or for mobile calls you have to pay money, right? So that is services. However, if a person sells further a purchase product, now who cannot be called a consumer? For example, a person sells further purchase product or business or commercial purpose, or provides free of cost services, or services are under personal service agreement, then such a person is neither covered under this legislation and will not be protected. So I buy a car in my name, but then I put it up as a taxi, right? So I have bought the car, but then I have put it up for the use to somebody else. Yes, it is on a higher purchase ratio, right? So he sells further. Well, so the same example, that I need just 1 or 2 or 3 bars of soap, right? In 1 month, I'm not going to buy 50 or 100 of it, right? Who buys 50 or 100? The retailer, the grocery shop wala, he buys 100 pieces of that soap or 100 bars of soap, right? And he sells it further. He has not taken for his consumption, so he cannot be called a consumer. We know consumer is the end user. So in this way, this paragraph clearly marks who a consumer is and who cannot be called a consumer. The objective is of this law is to see that consumers get the product or services of the right quality. The law also sees that the interests of the consumers are protected. Yes, we have paid for the product, we have paid for the commodity, then we should get the quality and quantity. If that quality and quantity is there, both of them are there. Suppose we buy a fan, electric fan, then we buy only one, so quantity is fixed one, right? But then it depends upon the quality that we are getting, right? But if I'm buying 1 kg of sugar, now that goes for quality and quantity also. Yes, I paid for 1 kg, but what I get is 980. Um, the retailer or the grocery wala is cheating me for 20 grams. Yes, so he is cheating 20 grams from all the customers who buy from him. So that is exploitation. I should get the weight for which I have paid the money. Second thing, it might be spurious, or it might be he has mixed some other things over there. Yes, and adulterated goods, right? He is saying, so he is not giving you quality. First thing, he is not giving you quantity also, and second thing, quality also. So this is just to check that the customer gets the right quality and quantity that he is supposed to get. Thus, as per provision, if the quality or quantity of the goods or services is improper, then how can I get justice? I can get justice if I am an aware consumer and if there are protection for the rights that a consumer should have. So, if the decided terms of sales are not fulfilled or the product is defective and the consumer can file a complaint under the consumer protection law, then it clearly states who can file a complaint, right? Who can file a complaint? Quality is not good as per promise, quantity of the goods is less than mentioned, or if improper, yeah, quality or quantity both are improper, or if the decided term of sales are not fulfilled, then the product is defective. Yes, we buy a refrigerator, the fridge works and the freezer does not work, right? Then I did not get what I wanted, right? So that is a defective piece. Consumer can file a complaint. Next, we come to the 4 mark question again regarding provisions for related to the rights of the consumers. To save consumers from immoral activities like undermeasurement, adulteration, and duplication, cheating, looting prices, corruption. You got to remember, mention all of this in your answer. The government has given certain rights to the consumers under the Consumer Protection Law. Now, what are these? Now, first one is right to safety. Why? Due to these laws, producers and traders maintain uniformity and transparency in their price, quality, quantity. Because if they don't do so, consumer can file a complaint and they can go to jail. So, right to safety. Right? Consumer has the right to seek protection if the commodity or service he purchases is dangerous or harmful to his health. For example, it is stale or it is adulterated, so that when consumed, yes, uh, your health deteriorates, so you can file a complaint. Next, right to get information. The consumer have should have information about quality, quantity, capacity, purity, class, standard, usage, MRP, everything printed on the product, so that he is completely aware of what he is buying. He can read it and buy it, so that if he thinks, no, according to the quality mentioned over here, the product is not that much good. This helps to get him protection in the market against malpractices or unfair trade practices. Yes, when the consumer has the right to information, right, he gets encouraged to use it and save him from exploitation. Suppose we buy a close-up or Colgate tube, yeah, say 100 gram. Yes, that we don't open over there and see if the tube is filled with whatever it should be filled with, right? Uh, Now, when we go home, we see that it is only half full, rest of the half is filled with air, right? Now, we have been cheated. We paid for the full 100 gram, but we got only 50 gram, right? So, if he is aware, then he knows about his rights and he can fight back. The consumer gets information from label on the packet, packing, advertisement, price list, advertisements and reports released by the government, etc. Next is right to choose. Consumer has the right to access a variety of goods at competitive price. That means monopoly should not be there. Only one or two producers producing and only their goods are in the market. Customer does not have a choice. He has to helplessly buy that product and compromise with the quality and quantity of that product. So what happens is, which can earn maximum profit, then that is why, and good quality. Objective of the right is to choose to confirm reasonable price. Now, if there is lots of competition, everybody will be trying to give the consumer a reasonable price, so that the customer chooses their product and not anybody else, and he gets better quality. So, satisfactory services and assurance of the quality. Consumer has the freedom to choose such a commodity. Nobody can force him to buy their product only. He should have a wider choice available in the market. Right to be heard or right to represent, this is a very important right given to the consumer. Under this law, such an arrangement has been made where if somebody has complaint, who is going to listen? So that complete system is this one, right to be heard or to be represented, in which rights and interests of the consumer are protected, represented, and considered. What are they? They are also provisions to make arrangement. Non-political organizations should be there, non-commercial should be there, consumer societies should be there, so that it can form, people can take part in it, where they can stand up and complain. Consumer representatives, or because consumer representatives, for example, your father bought the ball pen for you, right? Or some other books for you. Yes, half of the book is printed, half of the book is not printed. Yes, he went and fought with the dealer, but he's not going to listen it. He's not going to replace it. You can go to the consumer protection and you can be heard over there. Although your father is not the end user, but he has paid. He is a customer, right? So even you can go. You are the end user. So any representation can do. Your father can go or you can go. That is the meaning of this. Last one is right to seek redressal. Right? Now, the right gives the consumer to make complaints against dishonest commercial practices or loss due to negligence or ethical exploitation. The consumer can also ask the compensation against the loss that he has faced. I gave you the example. You brought a close-up toothpaste and half of that was filled, half of that was filled with air. Now, you have not used that product. You want either to be replaced for a better quality product or you want your money back. Yes, if you are not getting both of that, you can file a complaint and you can ask also for compensation to be paid by the company. For example, consumer may ask for exchange of goods. That is what we discussed: return of goods, return of money, free repair, etc. Consumer may or may not ask for any incentive for the loss or harassment that is suffered. You may ask, you may not ask. Yes, suppose the fan is there, the shopkeeper may say, oh, okay, the new fan that I sold, it's not working, but you will have to bring it here. Now he has to spare time, take a vehicle, take the fan to the dealer, get it repaired, and again come back and get it fixed by another electrician. He has gone through lots of hassle, yes, but then he may want that money or he may just choose to uh, not ask for any compensation. However, it should be noted that he is eligible for any incentive. The sixth right is right to consumer education. Now, as we know, lots of consumers, they are not educated, they are illiterate, they are ignorant, they are not aware. So they have, each and every consumer has a right to get consumer education. So, right to educate, consumer education. This right encourages the consumer to educate himself, become a well-aware or informed consumer. At village level, factors such as ignorance, lack of awareness are responsible. So, topics of consumer awareness should be included in the school curriculum. So, all the children are aware, and children, when they grow up, they are going to be this next generation citizens of India. And if they are aware at young age, when they grow up, certainly they will be knowing consumer awareness, protection, all these things. And for that same reason, all these things are included in your studies. Efforts should be made to train consumers and improve the skill. How? By conducting discussions, seminar of consumer awareness at rural level, done by various institutions. Seminars, discussions, workshop related to consumer rights should be arranged for educating consumers about their rights. Now, if rights are there, duties also should be there. There are lots of duties. First one is duties and responsibilities of the consumer. First, while purchasing a commodity or service, the consumers should take time, think it properly, and then select the right product. Right? Then, duty of the consumer to see that product is of good quality, proper warranty, guarantee, etc. Whatever the condition is, should be properly inspected. Government also has set up several standards like BS, IS, and ECMARC, etc. So the consumer should look if the product is of standard quality that the Indian government has set. Second is when a person goes in market to buy something, he gets a number of options. It is the duty of the consumer to see that the product is carrying all the required information, everything is printed on it. Third one is the consumer should behave gently and also should keep faith in the seller or the product. That is his duty. Yes, he should not be doubting each and every seller. Next is fourth, duties, and consumers should insist on obtaining original rate. That is for the good of the consumer, because if he wants to go to the consumer protection rights or the consumer council, then he should be having the original bill of the product that he has bought. That will help him to fight the case in the and that also makes the seller give proper taxes. For products which come with a warranty, consumer should get it all the things filled. Next, duties: consumer should join a voluntary consumer organization, association at, and that should be non-political and non-consumer commercial level. With the help of these organizations, they can get united and they can fight for a solution to the problems related to lots of customers. They should also ask for representation of their organization, because all these things they are legal and everybody doesn't have all the legal knowledge, right, of the court and court proceeding, etc. So representation, that means they can be represented by a lawyer who will fight their case. In case of consumer is exploited, it is his duty to make a verbal or written complaint to the officer of the consumer department without fail. Next is, while purchasing a product, consumer should not make any compromise with the quality of the product or its safety. He should check it properly before using it. All the essential details should be on the product. Eighth one is, while purchasing a product, if the consumer finds that the product is adulterated or duplicate or fake or it is underweight, he should immediately bring it to the notice of the trader. The trader should attend to his complaint. If the trader does not attend to his complaints, then he can take the matter to the court. Consumer should purchase a product only in the quantity that he needs, so that he doesn't hoard or unnecessarily he doesn't create artificial scarcity in the market. While making a purchase, consumers should see to it that the weighing scale, whatever measuring instrument is there, equipment, electronic instruments, they, all the scales, they are quite proper. Yes. So this is the next duty, 11th one. While taking the delivery of the gas cylinder, etc., the consumer should check if the seal is intact or not. Same way when you are sitting in an auto, is taking an auto, then you should see the taxi is set to meter zero, so that only the actual fare will be taken from you. Before the seller, for example, we go to the petrol pump, you should check zero and then fill up the petrol. Well, purchasing kerosene, you should see that the foam settles and the shape of the measurement is quite complete, and so that you don't get less weight. Consumers should see to it that kerosene seller dispenses kerosene from the scale which is hung on the stand of the kerosene unit and it is sold properly. 12th duty is, if a consumer has a complaint against railway, bank, insurance companies, telephone companies, then he should go through the proper consumer society, or he can seek compensation wherever required. The 13th duty is, a consumer should participate enthusiastically in different consumer awareness programs, movement, discussion, seminars, so that he can make himself more aware and he can become a matured consumer. Now we come to the next point, that is measures of consumer protection. It is quite a lengthy question, but it is a 4-mark question, because we have to explain uh, how, what are the measures, different measures that are taken for consumer protection. We have a 3-tier consumer court, that is, Government of India has set up the first apex one is Central Consumer Protection Council, or you can say National Consumer Commission under National Consumer Protection Act 1986. All the three things, they are very important. First thing, a committee was a council is set up, Central Consumer Protection Council. Another name is National Consumer Commission. Now that was set up under some act, which is that act, National Consumer Protection Act 1986, which we have already learned. Now, as per this council or commission, a 3-tier judicial mechanism has been set up. Which are these 3 tiers? The lowest one is at the district, known as the District Consumer Forum at district level. Above it is the State Commission at state level, and above it is the apex, that is National Commission at national level. Is so it is just the same thing in which we learned about the judiciary system in India. We also have the same system over there. Yes, district level, state level, national level. That is Supreme Court. We have these 3 tiers only. So if you are not satisfied by district level, you can approach the state level. Yes, with proper permission. Then if you are not satisfied by the judgment of the state level high court, then you can always go to the Supreme Court. Same thing applies over here. Yes, but what are the added things, that all these levels they have different, because uh, wherever it is consumer, money is going to come in, right? So wherever money is concerned, they have slabs, money slabs, right? So that a particular slab will work for a particular level. Every state needs to establish one district consumer forum or say court at every district. These courts, they take the consumers' complaints and they dispense with compensation against losses that they suffer. India is approximately very important 571 district consumers court. Now, if a petitioner, if his compensation value is up to 20 lakh, yes, from 1 rupee to 20 lakh, in these courts, after paying the court fee, he can take up the case. So the court can take up the case if the value is below 20 lakh, right? If the petitioner is not satisfied, there is a you're not satisfied by the judgment of the district level court, yes, then you can always go to the state level within 30 days, within the 30 days of the judgment that you get. However, before the taking the case at state level, the petitioner will have to pay either 50% of the amount of compensation claims or rupees 25,000, whichever is less. Now we come to state commission. State commission, yes, there are approximately 35 state commissions which are working for consumer protection. Yes, 29, 28 states that we had. Now we have 29, but we should not forget the union territories and NCR, that is national capital region. Yes, so put together we have 35 state commissions working for consumer. Now up till 20 lakh you can file a complaint with the district. Now above 20 lakh, from 20 lakh to 1 crore, if the amount is directly above 20 lakh rupees but below 1 crore rupees, you do not have to, because the district court will not allow your file complaint, because it is about 20 lakh, that is under the jurisdiction of the state government. So we go to the state commission directly if the amount is above 20 but below 1 crore. Yes, again we have to pay the proper notice. Now there the case runs and the judgment is given. You do not like that judgment, or you do not agree with that judgment, you want to go one step higher. So if the petitioner is not satisfied from the state commission within 30 days, and after paying 50% of the compensation or 35,000, whichever is less, he can go to the national level. At national level, now this is national commission or national forum. What happens above 1 crore? As the name suggests, there is only one national commission, head office at New Delhi, that is called the apex court for consumer complaint. That means 1 crore and above, national commission after paying the court fee. Commission, there will be a bench of 5 members. State commission and national commission should give decision as soon as possible, otherwise the files will keep mounting. If now what happens if you are not satisfied at national level, national forum? Then if the petitioner is not satisfied with the decision at national commission, he may file a case in the Supreme Court within the next 30 days. But before appealing, again compulsory 50% of the compensation amount or 50,000, whichever is less. Now, if you are not satisfied with Supreme Court, God help you, you cannot go anywhere. If the person does not respect the orders of the given by any of these three courts, yes, now it is for the opposite party. Yes, now judgment you like, whichever wherever you go, you are agreed with the judgment, and the opposite party has to pay you. Now, if that party does not obey the orders of that, is called contempt of court and can be punished or penalized or both. It is important to know that people living below poverty line, senior citizens, handicapped, all these people, they do not have to pay the court fees. Yes, and they come under the district free legal service. They are covered over there, so that they don't have to, because they don't have money. So it's not expected that they can spend money as from the court fee, and they can get a legal aid also. And advocate is also free, given free to them, the services of the advocate.